Hello and happy Wednesday. Welcome to PsychCandy for, here we are, May 11th. And I hope you guys are having a great week. For everybody tuning in, Darren, awesome to see you, man. And everybody that's also tuning in on other streaming platforms, I want to welcome you. Happy Wednesday. I've been talking to you guys a lot lately about, we were talking about relationships and also covering like what to attach to, what not to attach to. But one of the things too that I want to try to focus on is how do we communicate? Do we pay attention to the words we say, the tone that we use? And a lot of times we don't. And oftentimes how we say something, the tone in which we say it, the manner in which, what do we mean by it? Well, that can get muddled sometimes. And when we communicate in a muddled fashion, or we're not paying attention to the energy that's involved, we're not paying attention to what not only what are we receiving, because communication is a give and take. Communication is a vital part of life. It can also be a challenge. Now, whether it's work related or if it's pleasure, it's important to learn some important tips that can make things run much more smoothly. And these are not to be confused with like ways to maliciously manipulate others into getting what you want, but to simply improve our overall communication with others. Really paying mindful attention. How do we do this? So I'm going to share some good tips with you right now on valuable communication. The first thing I want to talk about is when you're communicating, look into someone's eyes when you get a dissatisfactory answer. Sometimes we don't like the answer to a question that we receive, and sometimes we don't understand it. And so instead of repeating the question or asking another, look into the eyes of the person. This will make the person feel under pressure or cornered, and this will force them to further elaborate their thoughts. Think about that. Have you ever had those conversations where you're talking to somebody or trying to convey, and they won't even look at you in your eye? They won't look you in the eye to give your answer. But sometimes we're not looking somebody in the eye when we ask a question. You know, I'm pretty fervent about that. Like if I'm talking to you, I'm going to look you in the eye. I want to look at you. I want you to look at me. Like I want to know that we got a connection going on, and I'm asking you a question. But everybody should be focused like that. The other thing is sometimes we get into a situation where people are raising their voices. Okay, well, stay calm when someone raises their voice to you. Make a strong effort to remain calm, and I know that's hard. It's easier said than done. But when a loudmouth acts out, it's usually in anger, and our behaviors can sometimes unintentionally provoke that. The feelings of anger usually quickly subside, and guilt will set in, and usually this person is first to ask for forgiveness or at least readdress the situation. Hey, I'm sorry I yelled, man. Hey, I'm sorry that I elevated. That was not what I meant to do. Whatever. But anger can make us overlook those things. Anger can make us operate in a way that is very unhealthy. The next thing is sit close to the aggressor to avoid attack. Now listen to this one. If you're heading into a meeting, for example, and you know that you'll be in the room with an aggressive person, you know the discussion may become heated, or you may be subjected to negative criticism. Make a strong point to sit next to that very person. You may feel uncomfortable and awkward, but you won't be the only one. Close proximity is known to make people uncomfortable, which will lessen the level of aggression that they plan to exercise in that moment over you. I've been in situations like that where I knew that I was going to be in a room with somebody that they were aggressive. They didn't like me. They didn't like me worth fuck. And you know what it did? I went and sat my happy ass right down, right next to them. Well, that made them fidgety. It made them like they weren't prepared for that. Why on earth would I go sit next to them? Exactly. And it threw them off course. That's a good thing. The next thing is when we communicate, you want to remember everyone's name. Remember people's names. If you want to be popular with your peers and colleagues, make it a habit to start calling people by their first names when speaking with them. A person feels instantaneously special when you can call him or her by their first name. You know, if you keep everything sterile, you keep everything formal, well, that's exactly what you're portraying is that's a closed off wall. That's a closed off thing. Elizabeth, happy Wednesday, love. Welcome. Today I'm talking to you about how we communicate, and I'm sharing some tips and some pointers to think about. So just to kind of recap real quick before I move on. One is look into somebody's eyes when you get a dissatisfactory answer. Okay. Sometimes we don't like the answer, but when you look somebody in the eye, it's going to kind of force them to want to, you know, reevaluate maybe their answer. The next thing is stay calm when somebody raises their voice to you. Make a strong effort to remain calm because you're going to have people like that. They're going to raise their voice. Okay. But if you stay calm, you know, because usually they're operating out of anger. So we don't want to operate out of anger, right? So the feelings of anger usually are going to quickly subside, and guilt's going to set in for the person that's like all of a sudden like raising their voice at you, and we don't want to do that. The next thing is if you have an aggressor or somebody that's negative, that's that there's going to be negative tension, like in a meeting or at a room or with family or whatever. Okay, the thing is, go and sit close to that aggressor. Sit close, and because that's going to make people feel uncomfortable. You know, if you're going into a meeting or a situation where where that somebody doesn't like you or something, well, make it a point to go sit right next to that person because it's going to throw them off their game. Right. The next thing was remember everybody's name. You know, how, how nice is it when you do go into a situation and people are like, hey Elizabeth, Elizabeth, how are you doing, love? Opposed to, hey, Mrs. So and so, whatever. Like when you remember people's name, you make things personal, and you want to make things personal. You want people to feel special because I enjoy that. I enjoy. Hey, Trinity, what's going on, man? I like that. You know. And when you go and operate, if you're trying to operate sterile and formal, or you can't even remember people's names, that's not going to bump it's not going to bump your status of how people are like viewing you. You know. Okay, so now we're moving on. Let's try to do a recap. Barbara, welcome. Jonathan, welcome. I hope you guys are having a happy Wednesday. We are discussing aspects of how we communicate. The next thing is write down your thoughts when you feel stressed or anxious. We all feel some level of mental stress or anxiety at some point. So write down your thoughts in a journal and then, close it up. And believe it or not, you'll be able to focus on your work more easily because you have now shared your thoughts with someone, yourself. And when you share them, you will then feel the burden on your mind reduced. Writing is an excellent, excellent outlet. When we write things down, that is you getting that free from your position. That is you getting it free from your head so that you can lighten that load. Okay. I was just checking the back channel and definitely happy Wednesday, Elizabeth. I hope you guys are having a great week. We have made it to hump day. I apologize. I had to start my show an hour later today because I got stuck with some work stuff this morning, but I'm here and it's good. So the next thing is give yourself fewer choices when you can't make the decision. Now, some people believe that it's better to have more choices and more information, and actually they prefer to have more. But however, it's actually paralyzing to have too many. Like there's evidence that shows that having 4 options at a time is the maximum number that we can consider and still make an actual choice. In order to be an effective decision maker, you should only give yourself a few options at a time. This will allow you time to consider each one while giving you enough space between looking at maybe the new set of options. That's why like process of elimination works, but you want to make sure you're looking at a shorter list of the things that you might want to eliminate. Right. The next thing, a lot of people don't miss this. A lot of people do miss this. Right posture can boost confidence. Now, this is a psychology trick, okay? And it applies to both work and pleasure. It can drastically improve your dating life and help you move up the ladder at work. So, how can you become confident? What can we do to become more confident? Well, the best way to do this is through your posture. If you allow yourself to take up more space, you're more likely to feel more confident. This is referred to as power language. And if you go into a situation and you're all kind of lumped over and slumped in your chair and you're not being assertive to your presence in that moment, well, that's energy also that you're projecting outward. That's what you're reflecting. And that's what people are going to receive from your end. And we want to stand tall, sit up straight, look people in the eye when you talk, command your space, demand your space, own your environment. You see? And that's what we want to do. The next, this is a fun one. The surefire way to win at rock, paper, scissors. You guys played that? Rock, paper, scissors? Now, this one is definitely intriguing. But when you're about to play this famous game, ask your opponent a random question right before you play. This typically will throw your confused opponent off, and more often than not, they will throw up scissors. Try that. It's a fun little thing, but it works. But ask just a random, just off the wall question right before you do that. All right. You can use this kind of technique also when you're dealing, pardon me, but when you're dealing with like assholes or dealing with people that are just trying to be difficult. Well, throw something random before you're going to go into something important, and it throws them off base a little bit. And a lot of times in that situation, in a reverse scope, you're going to get more of an authentic answer to whatever it is you're trying to address. The next thing is make people feel needed when you ask for help. If you need somebody's help, start off with the phrase, maybe, I need your help. People like to feel needed and they hate feeling guilty. So by starting off the conversation with that phrase, you're more likely to receive the help that you need. Hey, I need your help. Oh my God, I need some help. No, I need your help. I need your help. When you do that, it makes it more personal. And now they have to address you more personal. Now this is the last point, and I'm going to go into something else really quick. But the last thing is warm your hands before shaking hands with others. Did you know that cold hands are linked to distrust? And that's true. Cold hands are linked with distrust. And when you're about to touch someone or shake their hand, make sure that your hands are warm. Warm hands promote a friendly atmosphere. And that is so true. Now, I grew up in a culture, and even in my family or whatever, just people you meet, in school or whatever. Like I grew up in a touchy, environment. Now I'm a hugger. I like to hug people. I'll shake your hand. I touch. That's just how I am. But if my hands are freezing cold, it won't happen, because I think about that fact, because I don't like it. Somebody touching me with cold hands or trying to shake my hand with cold hand. It changes things. It changes the dynamic. You see. And so we want to think about some of these key things when we communicate with people. So a lot of things I've pointed out, it's not just what we verbalize, but it's how we act. What is your physical presence saying in a conversation? What are you putting out there? So kind of just to recap some things, warm hands symbolize more of a warm, trusting, friendly atmosphere. Okay. Make people feel needed. Okay. When you ask for help, say, I need your help. Bring it in, make it personal. Right posture. Pay attention to how you sit. What are you giving off, And when you're having to make a decision, don't try to create a list of 20 options. Start with 4. Start with 4 options, because that's usually the maximum of what you're going to be able to actually process anyway at a given moment is 4 at a time. So then work through process of elimination. Next thing is write down your thoughts. Keep a journal. That helps you release things. Remember everyone's name when you're talking. Sit close to people who you feel are going to be difficult or who are aggressive, because this is going to throw them off base a little bit. And stay calm if somebody raises their voice to you. The more calm you stay, you're bringing a presence of maturity on your end, number one. And number two, more times than not, they are going to flip their position towards you in that moment. And then lastly, look into somebody's eyes when you talk. When you look into somebody's eyes, that says something. That says, I am intently, I am aware of what I'm saying, and I am serious about what I'm saying, and I'm looking at you as I say this or ask this question. I hate it when people are talking to me and they don't look me in the eye. When people are looking away, they're looking at the ground, they're staring at anything else they can while they talk to me, trying to tell me something important or ask me something. Let me tell you something. You just lost my attention span because I don't. You can't even look me in the eye to talk to me. Then something's not right. And it's true. It's a communication thing. Now, I hope you've been able to pull something from this. Today, we've been talking about how we communicate. I would like to open the stage up for a minute. If anybody would like to come up and tell me how your Wednesday is going, how your week is going, tell me how you navigate communication, or if you have a question to ask, I would love to hear from you. Um, Definitely want to, again, thank you guys for being here. I know I had to start my show an hour later today, but it was just work got in the way this morning. So there you have it. You got to pop in when you can, right? But I will be back with you guys tomorrow at 11:30 and Friday at 11:30. And then also want you to join me on Saturday at 2 o'clock for another special musicology that we're finally back on track. And we have a very special guest coming up for this Saturday at 2. So I can't wait to see you guys. All right. Well, I don't see anybody coming up here, so I'm going to go ahead and close off right here. Guys, think about what you say. Think about what energy you're putting out there and communicate clearly. And I promise you, it'll lead to a much happier day and a much happier existence in your own world. So until next time, be happy, be healthy, and thank you so much. Happy. Oh, hold on. Before I go, wait. Oh, I thought I had something on the back end. Sorry there. All right. So, all right, guys, I'll see you next time.